Are you good?
Alright guys, this is Pigeon Man from Team Bonesaw, and I'm about to give you a deck profile. Today I'm going to be doing Dragunity Atum OTK, and what it involves, it's basically a Dragunity deck with some Hieratics, so you can make some nice rank 6s, and actually get the normal Dragunity OTK off easier. So, first thing I'm going to show you is Dragunity Phalanx. A lot of the Dragunity monsters can equip one of their tuners to them when they get normal summoned, and then you can use them to do other things depending on their effects when they're in this Bone Trap card zone. So, he's good because when he's equipped, you can special summon him directly. The next thing is, it's similar to Phalanx. It's used in the same way where it's equipped from the graveyard when you normal summon a Dragunity, but this allows you to, if for whatever reason you need to send your equip to the grave, when it hits the grave, it allows it, you are allowed to destroy a card in the field. Next thing I'm going to show you is Dragunity Legionnaire, because what he can do is, not only can he equip Phalanx, and then Phalanx can special summon, you can sink for a 5 if you need to, but the main thing you want to do with Legionnaire is equip an Aklys, because that way you can use his effect to get rid of his equipment and destroy a face-up monster they control, and then this allows you to destroy any card in the field when it gets sent from this Bone Trap card zone to the grave. But that's only when the monster it was equipped to stays on the field, so under a dark hole it doesn't really work. I like this a lot better than running Icarus attack in the deck, because I don't run that many winged beasts in the deck, and this combo happens one at a time, so they can't Starlight Road it. The next cards I'm going to show you are Dragunity Dux. This is like the key normal summon card of the deck, because what you want to do is, you can normal summon him and then mainly equip a Phalanx, because, excuse me, when you equip a Phalanx, Phalanx just special summons himself and then he can sync for a 6. And there's actually a level 6 synchro that can equip in the same way, and because Phalanx, the effect resets when it hits the grave, you can actually sync into an 8 in one turn if you want. Next card I'm going to show you are Dragunity Arma Mystletainn. This card is really good because it's level 6, which allows you to go into Hieratic Dragon King of Atum. But the other thing about it is that there's basically no cost to actually special summon it from your hand. Because if you have a Dux to normal summon and then a Phalanx in the grave, Dux comes out and equips this, and then Phalanx can special summon himself. You can then use Mystletain's effect to send Phalanx to the grave and special summon it. But what the real bonus here is that he can also equip the same way Dux does. So you just equip the Phalanx, special summon it again, and sync for a 6. And that lets you actually go into a rank 6 right there. The next cards I'm going to show you are, I'm going to show you a lot of different ones at once, just because it's like, I see it as more of a singular engine. This is where like a lot of the Hieratic stuff comes in. The first card is Hieratic Dragon of Su. The second cards are Hieratic Dragon of Tefnuit, and then the fourth card is actually a Wattialdragon. Hieratic Dragon of Tefnuit is really good and really supports the Dragunity engine, specifically because it's basically a Cyber Dragon, but for this deck we need level 6s, so instead of running Cyber Dragon we just run this, because it's level 6 and effectively has, like, serves the same purpose. However, it does have the common Hieratic effect that when it gets tributed, you can basically special summon this card, or Luster Dragon, or anything else with similar parameters, and it'll come out with 0 attack and 0 defense. I guess that's as close to effect negation you can get on a normal monster. And the reason why you want to run the Wattialdragon is not because you want to just tribute a Tefnuit for a Tefnuit, but you can do it to Hieratic Dragon of Su, and that'll allow you to special summon the Wattialdragon, and if you still have a Tefnuit somehow out on the field, you can tribute the Tefnuit and actually pop a set, which makes the entire OTK more consistent, because then you still have this on the field and you can overlay, and that is basically how you get into the OTK. The next cards I'm going to show you are 2 cards. They're basically more like, these are the key cards to actually make the OTK thing. One of them is Red Eye's Darkness Metal. This basically just adds consistency to any like Dragon Engine deck, because you just banish a dragon from your field and then special summon it, and it just gives you more free special summons. If you have this in the grave, you can actually use this as fodder for when you use Atum to eventually get out of Trident Dragion and go for the OTK, because it'll have 0/0 attack and won't actually help you during the battle phase. The effect of Arma Leyvaten never gets negated in this deck, because you're either special summoning it like this, or you're special summoning it with I don't have the card, whatever. Hieratic Dragon King of Atum, which only brings it down to 0/0. So whenever it gets special summoned, it can equip a card. So you equip Dragunity Phalanx, special summon it, and sink into Trident Dragion. That allows you to tribute 2 cards. It gains that many attacks, and you attack for basically 9,000. So that's basically the monsters. I'm going to go into the spells now. I run 3 Dragon Ravine, because it allows you to basically just filter your draw. You can always add either Dux or Legionnaire with anything you want, or you can put more dragons in the grave, like Phalanx, Aklys, or Leyvaten. I run 2 Terraformings, because you obviously want to draw into this more, so you can be filtering your draw every turn, because normally top decking in this deck is absolutely awful. But I only run 2, because if you run 3, then it's going to be dead a lot. Next cards I run are 2 Cards of Consonance. I run 5 targets for this card, which are the 3 Phalanx and the 2 Aklys. Basically, either of these cards are alive as cost fodder for Cards of Consonance. You basically just play this card, discard either of these 2, and draw 2 cards. It's a lot better, and when you're filtering your draw for many turns on end and you draw into this card, it's almost better to get rid of the 1 live card in your hand, which would probably be Aklys because of her secondary effect. And that way you can possibly hope, like, drawing into Dux if you need it, or Legionnaire. Dux is more common because you're probably scrambling to get out synchros. Another card I use is Hieratic Seal of Convocation. This is a really good card because it's basically Rhoda for Hieratics, except there's no limits to it. You add any Hieratic monster you want. So this is really good because if you don't have any monsters in hand and your Ravine targets in your hand are kind of like shaky, you can just play this card, get Tefnuit, and hopefully survive for a little while until you can win the game. The next few spells are basically just staples: Heavy Storm, Monster Reborn, Dark Hole, and 2 MST. I usually like 3 MST because 3 MST is amazing, and just so much back row hate ever since last format and the beginning of this format. I really like that, but I can't really fit it into this deck because it's more OTK centric. Now we're going to move on to the traps. I just run Solemn Judgment and 2 Solemn Warning. Bottomless trap pool because I hate every other monster on the field. That's the only problem with this OTK is that if they have monsters, then it's really hard to do it unless you're using Atum, which is why I like it, but you still want to get rid of their monsters, which is also why I run Torrential Tribute, because if you don't have that much field presence, you can always get it back in this deck. You have 3 Dux and 2 Legionnaire. Legionnaire can still sink for a 5, get out Catastor, and still like cover your losses. And then I run Starlight Road because I run enough back row to do so. Alright, so now I'm just going to move on to the extra deck where I'm going to actually explain some of the OTK stuff, but I'll try to make it a little quick. We have Ally Justice Catastor. Basically, you're only going to sink for this when you have Legionnaire and Phalanx in the grave, and it's good if your opponent doesn't have that many dark monsters, which kind of sucks because, you know, this meta loves light and dark, but whatever. So it's decent, and it's always been a staple in the extra deck for me whenever I played any sort of Dragunity deck. The next are 3 Dragunity Knight Vajrayana. Without this card, you wouldn't be able to do anything in this deck. This is the card that you always need. Sadly, they're $20 for no reason right now, and that's kind of stupid, but whatever. This is the card that allows you to equip again after it's synchro summoned, and then get into a level 8, or if you want. It can also equip Aklys, which is really good because she has another effect where she detaches the equipment that she got from synchro summoning and doubles her attack for the turn. But when she does that, Aklys can actually still pop a card with its effect, even if, like the same way that you use Legionnaire to do it. So not only are you getting out a 3800 beat stick for the turn, you're popping one of their back rows so you can pretty much always get the attack. Another star player in this deck is Dragunity Knight Dearg, because you can just leave him out on the field and filter your draw again, put another dragon type in the grave, or if you have like an Aklys or Phalanx in the grave, you can just add a Dux to hand and then put the Phalanx in the grave if you want to. This is what I usually do when I need to sink for a 6 and I know I'm going to get a Tum out, because I just get this out, thin my deck by 1 more card, and then go for the OTK. Just in case I don't get the OTK, my deck will be a little bit more consistent the next time I have to draw. This is Dragunity Bulg, the best named card in Yu-Gi-Oh! And what it does is basically when you think for it, you're going to have a Dux in the grave, and you can just banish it and make it a 35 when it gets attacked. They really can't get over it, and when you get it out, if you don't attack the same turn you synchro summon it, you basically just, like, you stall them out for a long time because they really can't get over a 3500 beater. I run a Gaia Knight just for the 26. It's really good because I like it to run if I'm running 3 Vajrayana, because you don't always want to go for the 38 because it does go back down at the end phase. So sometimes you just need that power to get through. For level 8s, I run Scrap Dragon, 2 Stardust Dragon, and Crimson Blader. I really like Scrap Dragon just because you can, if you already use the field that turn and you think you're going to go for game, I don't know how you got a level 8 synchro out with this OTK, but whatever, then you can just tribute off the field spell and then pop their back row or whatever you need to do. I run 1 Starlight Road in the deck, so of course I'm going to have the 1 Stardust just in case. And then I have another one just in case I have a lot of back row and I don't have the Starlight Road, but I can actually just synchro into it with Dux and Phalanx and Vajrayana and protect my back row, basically. This is a new card I just got today from the sneak peek for Cosmo Blazer. It's called Crimson Blader. Basically, this is going to be a really hot tech right now against all the fire decks that are coming out. Fire Kings, Fire Fists, and Hazy Beasts, or Hazy awful archetype names. I hate them. But this card basically owns up all of them, except, of course, when they overlay. But if you're running this card, it's a 28 beater. It doesn't allow your opponent to special summon level 5 or higher monsters, so hopefully, if you know what you're doing and you get this out early, they won't be able to do that at all. Next few cards. Okay, so this one is Trident Dragion. This is basically the OTKer. His effect is when he's synchro summoned, you contribute up to 2 cards you control, and he can attack that many more extra times during the next battle phase. So with this, you're probably going to tribute your red metal or your back row or your field at this point, because you're pretty much going to go for game. The red metal is going to have 0/0 because you got it out with Atum. And that's basically just how you do things. Or there are sometimes when you have like a spare Phalanx out on the field because you use Mystletainn and stuff. So there's a lot of room to tribute stuff that you're not going to need the next turn if you don't actually end up getting the OTK. The next card is Hieratic Dragon of Su. I only run 1 because I feel like if I have to go into 2, then the OTK probably isn't going to happen. You can make 2 Atums and do some really, really funny stuff, but really you only need 1 for the actual OTK. Basically, it special summons a dragon from your deck, and it's at 0/0, so that's how you start doing all the OTK stuff and getting this guy out, and that's what you want. The next card I run is just an extra rank 6, just in case, Swordbreaker. He basically allows him, like, he can basically Catastor for any type, which is cool because then you're running Catastor, obviously, who can do, like, any attribute other than Dark. So if they're running a lot of Dark monsters, you can kind of figure out what type they run. Like, if it's Dark Worlds, you can do Fiend and get this guy out and just auto-Catastor. Specifically against Grapha while they have the field spell out, because sometimes you just don't want to go in, if you can't go into like anything that pops, or, no, not that one, or Gay Bulge, then you just kind of want to overlay and get this guy out to get rid of their fiends. The final card I run is Gaia Dragon, the Thunder Charger, because I feel like this card makes the OTK way more consistent than it ever was, because not only will you have a Trident Dragion that can go and attack 3 times, but you also have this, so if they have 1 monster out, you can pierce it over the, you overlay it over the Atum and then just pierce their defense. That does it for the extra deck, and I just wanted to say that I also would normally try to run this and fit it in. It's Chimeric Fortress Dragon, just so that I can go into Cyber Dragon and not have to side it game 2 against like a machine deck, but I couldn't really fit it in this deck. I usually try to, but this time there was a lot of stuff I had to cover because there's a lot of Ixies that this deck isn't really used to extra decking. So alright, that's the deck, guys, and I hope you enjoyed it. Remember to like, rate, comment, and subscribe, because we are YouTube sellouts. Talk to you later from Team Bonesaw.